public service warning. This is an announcement. They are back out. They're out. I dealt with them this weekend. They're out in horrific amounts. Anybody that's a mobile detailer, this is your nemesis. This is the lawn care guy. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Brutal weekend because 70 degrees, open up the garage door, ready to clean. I got my rinseless bucket going, and suddenly I hear...
Backpack blower.
like, oh, come on, my guy. Like,
Yeah.
it's my neighbor, right? Of course, so I yell at him like, hey, keep it down. I'm trying to wash my car over here, right? Like,
Yeah.
but mobile, right? It's horrific because I've heard stories. I'm sure your guys have had it of, blowers, the next door neighbor blowing grass all over the place. It gets inside of cars. It gets outside on the cars.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think one of the worst stories I ever had was a landscaper. My client had a few cars in their driveway, and landscaper has a backpack blower on. Don't know if it was a new guy or what. Luckily, there's cameras because they were trying to blame us and what we may have done to the car. And the guy's, marking up the car hoods, like trying to blow the stuff they blew on the car hood. And he's taking that plastic piece and he's like actually hitting the hoods. I don't know whether he couldn't feel it or he didn't care. We've had people take the backpack blower and run into the vehicle, and try to act like they didn't. And it's like, guys, that can't happen from detailing. Just an FYI. There's nothing we carry that could make the mark that your backpack blower could make. Yeah, I mean, we've had all kinds of stuff. I mean, one of the things that we get a lot is because we have a lot of palm trees that they take a lot of maintenance. So people will put like a chipper next to, cars you're detailing, and they're working on palm trees and the stuff's falling, and then they put it in the wood chipper, and you go, come on, man. I mean, couldn't you move the wood chipper, 25 feet forward? And yeah, so there's all kinds of that stuff. And I would say out here, one thing that we've realized, maybe it's different where you are, or you guys can all relate, they've gotten more disrespectful throughout my career.
Ooh, yeah.
I don't know if everybody kind of feels that. I don't think it's as friendly as it used to be.
Well, because we're the prima donnas, right? At that point, right? We're the pretty boy. Like, why? Come on, what's the problem?
Yeah, but I mean, here's the deal. I think 10 years ago, I will say this: there was a more of an understanding, I guess is my point. Now there's much less of an understanding.
You think of it that way. Not as we need too much. It's more of
I think
just a mutual. Now there's just less respect among business. Geez, we talked about that last week, didn't we?
Yeah.
We don't need to go back to that, but
yeah,
you're right.
I think that's a part of it. Yeah,
less understanding between business to businesses.
Yeah, I just again, this isn't something I have like proof of. It's a feeling though that I have is that I'll go out and I'll see somebody who's, let's just say, doing something like with a wood chipper from the palm trees. If they saw you detailing a car, that would have never been set up right next to you 10 years ago. Now it's just like, well, that's where we dropped it, man. What do you want us to do? It's like, I don't know. It's on wheels.
We got to get it done. We got the next one to do.
It's on wheels, man. Just pull it forward like 20 feet. It's not that big a deal. And like I said, it's just stuff we have to deal with, whether it's a neighbor, you're actually doing this as a business. I think people are pretty loose now. I mean, they're gonna do what they're gonna do, and you got to deal with it.
Listen, so loose. The same neighbor then, after he was done mowing the yard, gets his water hose out. I look up later, got his water hose out, got thumb on it, just spraying down the car. I go, what are you doing?
Why doesn't he just wait for the rain? Isn't that the Tulsa move? They just wait for the rain.
Well, we already had the rain. We don't have rain.
Oh, he already got the rain. He didn't know when the next rain was coming.
So he's like, well, I'm just knocking it off. What? Like, yeah. Come on.
Well, we've kind of seen that with some posts recently in the specialist group that we thought that's probably what somebody was doing, is that if I just rinse my car off with a coating, I'm good to go. I mean, here's the thing. I just think that's how normal individuals believe that my water is clean. It's coming out of my hose. I'm just rinsing off the grass clippings. I'm just rinsing off the debris. If you're not guys like us, do they really know?
So, great point. Walk over and I go, Come on, right? Like, can't let this go down in my own neighborhood.
Sure. I know that feeling.
Can't let this happen. What do you got around, right? Like, he goes, fumbles back and brings out a bucket. He's got a mitt. Cool. And fairly new mitt. Good for him. Has some soap that I found to be pretty interesting. Got it because that's what he, quote unquote, is what his dad used.
Yeah. Let's make
Right?
sure we
So you
don't
can
say the brand. I don't want any kind of like issue here.
No, it's not an issue. I actually was going to tip my hat to the brand, and you would go, there was a windshield product that got put out, what, late 90s? You
Yeah,
know,
I'm
early
familiar.
2000, somewhere through there, and you could spray it out of your windshield wipers.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you go, wow. And then that sudden brand, it was a magic moment. But I really
Sure.
got like, once I saw the brand that he was, I just want to tip my hat for him and go, that was a brand that transformed how we thought of rain, right? How we thought of
Sure.
water and
No,
coming off
agreed.
of our windshield and all that, right?
Yeah.
Did they necessarily then make the best soap?
Yeah. I mean, might want to stay with the windshield stuff.
Yeah, might want to
Yeah,
stay
no,
there. So,
and look, I know that feeling. Watching somebody, did you give him some Eco One? What'd you do?
so that's what I threw some eco in the bucket. Actually, some of the stuff we're actually working on, right? Give
Yeah,
him some of that stuff, put it in the bucket. Not a hey, here's a towel, folding four. Not a, he just grabs his all good, man. Grab your mitt,
yeah.
go to
You got to
town.
worry
Like,
about. You can't tell everybody everything. It doesn't work that way.
the cool part though was he could tell the difference of the glide.
Oh yeah,
And he could feel it. And he goes, oh, wow, that's cool. So then it was like, now what do I do? It's like, okay, well, let me go get you a drying towel. Walked
Yep.
him back over a drying towel. It's like, okay, so it really changed his perspective so much that when I was getting done, I noticed he was then, and here's another public service announcement for all of you who have mothers. Best thing to do for Mother's Day coming up next week, right? Get some Eco One. You can wash her car right in the driveway, and she can walk out on Sunday morning to a fresh, washed car. And that's what he started to do. And it's like perfect. Then he went over the next one I saw later, right? I'm eating breakfast by that time, and he's on to the third one.
Yeah,
and you
good
just
for
go, yes, like this is great.
You can find this at hypercleanstore.com.
But how did this guy go, hey, well, here's what I'm going to use?
Yeah.
How did he do? How does somebody choose their car soap? How does somebody choose their product? How do they choose, right? So the number one way we're all going to know is the same way he did. Whatever my dad, whatever my roommate, whatever my friend, whatever. You kind of can just go whoever and whatever they use, we're naturally going to gravitate to just go grab it and use it.
Agreed. 100%. I mean, that's marketing 101, right? That's where a lot of people started. Somebody, like you said, this brand got into this guy's ether, 20 years ago. It's just stayed there because they're still around, and that's why he buys stuff. But, for all of us that love cars, that's also at times the things that can be frustrating as you go with all the great information out there. You got some nice vehicles. They didn't cost you $0. I mean, they cost you something. Why'd you not look into it? Well, the fact is, a lot of people just aren't going to do that. And even the people that do oftentimes don't know what they should be looking for. So you have
That's
a
where I was
double-edged
gonna
sword.
go. What would he ever have even known what to look for? So I'm so glad you said that, right? Like, what would he have known? Because this is almost, in a sense, good enough. What would he have even known to look better for?
Well, by the way, he also thought water was good enough, right? I mean, buddy, we hear this stuff all the time. There's a lot of guys listening to this that have had to talk to a customer that paid them a lot of money to put a ceramic coating on and go, you can't just rinse the car off with your dirty water and then expect it all to turn out properly. Like, all you had to do is put some soap and a little bit of thought into it. And there's a lot of frustration around this. But there's also, look, we can share as a brand. I mean, we have the specialist group. We have a YouTube page where we specifically say how to use the product. Doesn't matter what product at this point. I mean, there is some type of how to or us showing you how to use the product. You can say we have short form content, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, where all we're doing is talking products, talking how to use them, what to do, funny stories, messing something up, whatever it is. And, we all need to understand that there's people that have bought our product and not plugged into any of that, and not read the directions on the bottle, not read the product description on the website that has directions on how to use it. So your customer spraying off the car with a hose is not that out of bounds. It looks ridiculous to us, but we know people buying detailing products from all kinds of different brands and not even figuring out how to use the product properly. So, I mean, it's just part of the ecosystem at times.
And so how do people get that into their ecosystem, right? There's what you talked about. We have our Facebook group. Facebook groups in general are is wild, right? Like, and we've talked about it. The one that you said, also YouTube. There's the interesting one also. I think because if we can watch somebody spray something and we could see it do something, then it translates over to us that then it would work when we go do it and we put in. But you go, hey, listen, we put that out there, so you should be able to see it. And the odd part is it's so much out there. People don't, I wonder if people don't associate a brand, YouTube showing how to use something, and then these YouTubers that are just showing, not, this isn't a knock, please don't.
Yeah, any product.
Any product, right? They're showing this versus this, right? And they'll go, hey, today we're going to go. I was trying to watch a video this weekend. I was trying to get some highlights on something, and all I kept seeing was this versus this. And okay, now we're going to test this one versus this one. And you just, I guess there's people that watch that, right? So it's not about the content. You just go, okay, you got Nick showing a spray and go, and we've talked about Revive. We talked about that recently. There's plenty of that. And then you got the this versus that. YouTube can get very confusing trying to figure out if I want to go get information.
Yeah, I mean, all I can really say from our standpoint, and I guess I would say this about any product that I purchased that isn't related to detailing. If I purchase something that I'm going to apply in my home, or something that I'm going to apply in my backyard, I'm going to assume that company probably has a YouTube channel on that product. And if they don't, that's kind of the rarity now, right? For most mainstream stuff. So I'm going to go there first to try to figure out how to apply this product I'm using in my home, or I'm using in my backyard, or whatever. I'd say the same for detailing. You and I really have no issue with people creating content for content's sake. I mean, it's just part of the internet, right? It's no big deal. But if I wanted to learn about a product and I was buying said product and I wanted to learn how to use it, I wouldn't be trying to take the knowledge from a content creator using a separate product. I'd be trying to figure out from the company how I should use the product. I just think that's 2025 in a nutshell, right? Which is, you and I go back, and I made this joke to you when we were talking about the episode. You and I, and there's some old school detailers, and there's some times you sold some chemicals when you were getting your start there locally in Tulsa, that it probably said wheel acid on the bottle or the gallon. There was no direction. It literally was a white label, somebody's logo at the top. It said wheel acid in black on the white label. It said nothing else, Marty.
Yeah.
It said nothing.
Of their home computer.
It said nothing else. So I guess I kind of always wish they would tell me how I should be using the stuff, because we grew up in a time that nobody, even the person selling it, couldn't really tell you. They were just like, yeah, spray this on and, wipe it off, or spray this on and rinse it off. And there was nothing to reference. And I mean nothing. Like, you really couldn't even sometimes understand who was selling the product.
Well, and if the person, if you ask them the question, they would just do this. They would just get the gallon, just look at it and go, well, here it says you can do this. So this is what I do.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, have you done it?
Yeah.
Or what are we talking about here?
And by the way, we're not just talking about local guys. I mean, there were 3M products that I remember everybody using that you would look at the bottle and go, there's not a lot of info on here. And the 3M guy would just be like, the local distributor, or maybe it was somebody that actually worked for 3M at the time. And they'd be like, well, all you do is just, slap this on your buffer. And it's like, well, what does it do? And they'd be like, and then you come to find out it was a glaze and it'd rinse off in 3 weeks. And, it's like, oh, well, I didn't know it was that. And, look, I think that's where we have to start is I think the coolest part about this is that, and we say this a lot of times internally, look, man, there's a lot of people making flash videos for their brand that are just kind of, trying to put on a cinematic show. And we think that definitely has its place. And it's cool to see people do stuff creatively. But man, you go to our YouTube channel, it's pretty basic. It's like, hey, we just released a YouTube video today, how to apply hyperCLEAN dose. And you guys just watch my exact process of applying the coating. So if you go to our YouTube channel and you've purchased dose, you can see exactly how I do it. There is no guesswork. And now you're not even just relying on a label or a website. You have a video that you can copy exactly what I'm doing. And I make sure to voice over and tell you why I do things a certain way and that kind of thing. And again, but you also have to go put the 10 minutes in to watch the video. Right. And I know all of us are guilty of this. I've been guilty of it. You and I joked about it, is grabbing a product that you're using somewhere in your life and not taking the 5 seconds to see how to use the stuff properly. And you just think you know better. And I've certainly made that mistake a time or two in my life, but it really isn't a mistake you have to make anymore in the car care business, is because brands like us, I don't have a problem telling people how I use things.
Yeah, it makes sense. Now, we joked, and we'll always joke about Facebook groups. We do specifically try and keep ours a certain way other than other, right? Like,
yep.
But even inside of ours, we'll get some people like you mentioned, like, hey, this guy thought he could just spray off his car, right, with water, right? There are some times we get these really random, weird questions. But Facebook groups seem to be like sort of the hub where somebody goes and just, instead of doing the what we just talked about, talking to other people they might know, watching some videos from a company, it seems to be default is always, hey, how do I do this? Or, hey, if I saw this, then da da da. What, like we've seen some, I know, even like I say, inside of our group that are just kind of go like, but that was really cool. Like there's this idea, and this isn't a knock, so don't get. It's this idea, and this is what Zuck has done so well at, right? It's the idea that I can go into a group of people and just throw out my question that just happened to hit my mind of what I'm working on, and then just throw it out real quick, and then I'll just get an answer back, and I can then basically just be AI myself and decipher all these responses to create the best answer out of all the responses, right? That's why I didn't want to knock it. I didn't want to knock the question into the group. I want to explain the thought process. To me, that's what people are doing when they have not a provoked question, like where they really think through it and they want to talk about something or have a discussion point, but they just throw out this like half sentence question with the photo, right? Like,
and look, like, I do think that is a better alternative than using a product that you don't understand. I mean, I'm not saying it's the perfect option, but look, if you had never applied our glass coating and you're like, hey man, I just didn't think about going to YouTube, and I'm in the specialist group and I want to go ask people, their experience and how I should do it. I don't really think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, it's 2025, whatever helps you get the answer that you're looking for. But also, I do think people discount brands trying to help them on a YouTube channel because they know the best way that the product works. So I think I would do both before I did just one or the other. Right? Like I think if I went and watched the YouTube video and I was just a little bit still unsure, I'd go into the group and I'd ask a specific question. I think that, but you also got to remember, for everyone that hasn't been in the specialist group and asked a question, we specifically foster positive stuff in our Facebook group that takes a lot of work. There are a lot of brands that you and I are in their Facebook groups that aren't related to detailing or maybe loosely related to detailing, that those groups just run wild. There
So
is no monitoring. And
let's
so
go over some of those.
you got to be very, very, understanding of that.
So I screenshotted a couple, and these because I thought they were really interesting for this exact like moment, right? Like going into a Facebook group and asking, "What's your favorite?" Right? Just fill in the blank.
Hey, that's that you could say that. And by the way, that happens into things that aren't even detailing. If you're in any kind of group, people love to ask, "What's your favorite dot dot dot?"
What's up, y'all? Got my first customer booked for Tuesday. What's a good shampoo for upholstery? Right? You've seen it. We've seen it. We've even talked
Yeah,
about
it's
this
true.
quite like you'll see it nonstop. Well, what's a good shampoo for upholstery? That's such an open-ended question, right?
And by the way, you also got to say this as two people that monitor our Facebook group, that know the qualified people we have in there, but also we know the people that may not be as qualified. You have to realize that somebody asking a question in a group, especially ones that have 10,000, 20,000, 50,000, 100,000 people in them, how do you know anybody's level of expertise? I think that's what people don't talk about, to be honest with you. And that's why I always point to people, hey, man, if the company's kind enough to put up a YouTube channel and do explain their products, you probably should put some value in it, because otherwise you're going to be asking 20,000 people on a Facebook group that you have no idea their credentials on anything. And by the way, this isn't just detailing. This is across the board everything.
You might hear some credentials, though, sometimes, and they'll even say it like this. Good morning, everyone. I'm looking for suggestions on ordering good quality products at a decent price. Here's the qualification. I've been using TikTok, but I'm wondering if there's anything better.
Hey, I don't know where you came. I can guess where you came into that, but yeah, man. I mean, look, this is the world. I think you and I probably do a pretty good job. Hopefully, people think that we're a pretty good job. I'm pretty open to this whole social media thing that's surrounded detailing. Like, it doesn't make me angry. It doesn't make me mad. It doesn't do any of that. But also, I think I want to tell people I don't have any of those feelings because I understand the game that's being played. We saw something recently, and let's share this here, where a guy hosted a training a week ago, and this week he told everybody he was going out of business. He's got a huge following on TikTok and other social platforms, does an excellent job on camera. But that's the game you're involved in when you choose to go on the internet. That's all I've ever really used this podcast for. I think at times it gets lost, is that if you know the game that's being played on the internet's a great place. Far too many people, young and old, it's not an age group specific thing, do not understand the things that are going on the internet. Can you imagine somebody running a training one week backed by a product company, knowing the next week he was going to be out of business? Because when you know you're going out of business, you know you're going out of business. It doesn't come up in 1 week. You know it's your time.
Oh,
whatever.
damn, got hit.
Yeah, you got
Gotta
something.
go, guys.
And by the way, he didn't present it that way when he told everybody he was shutting down. And I'm not judging people for failing, right? You started a business, it didn't work out, you closed the business. That stuff happens. I don't really judge that part of it. But this is what we've kind of been saying is like, hey, man, if somebody's good in front of the camera, that doesn't mean they know what they're talking about. And I'll use this example. The Accountant 2 came out, and the first Accountant movie I thought was great.
Great.
Okay, I don't watch a lot of movies. It's a great movie. You all know that Ben Affleck doesn't beat people's asses in real life. It's a movie. Okay, we all know that, right? I mean, I'm not saying this logic. This is what I tell people, and I've said this on this podcast. Hopefully, maybe if it's the first time hearing it,
Nick, hold on. When did you watch this movie? You didn't watch it yesterday, did you?
I didn't watch
Yesterday, well, you better have watched a Star Wars movie, just out of like.
I don't watch Star Wars movies.
Like,
yeah, that's no.
The fourth was not with you.
I like chicks, dude.
It was not.
So, here's what I say to people. You don't have any illusion in your life that Ben Affleck is not really that guy. You go, oh, he's a movie star. He's on, I'm just watching a movie. There's a part of the internet when people are just creating content for the sake of creating content and they don't have a brand they own, they don't have anything that they're really doing other than creating content. You got to realize it's a television show at some point. And that's the business that they're in. And there's nothing negative about that because there's nothing negative about Ben Affleck being in a movie. There's nothing negative about that. You just understand that Ben Affleck is playing a character. And there's a lot of that stuff that goes on. And by the way, people think that we're talking about detailing. No, man, you should view everything that you consume on the internet as some sort of television show, i.e. television show, movie, whatever word you want to use. And then from there, work backwards. What skin in the game does this man or woman have? What brand are they representing? Do they own it? That's how I get to my decisions as a consumer that have nothing to do with detailing. Detailing is just a part of it, right? This is how I buy everything. I understand that somebody might be a spokesperson for the product that they're selling me. It doesn't catch me off guard, but I think a lot of times you and I have a lot of people that vent frustration to us, like this guy saying, I've been buying from TikTok. He doesn't know that those guys have been getting over on him, probably because he just doesn't know how it works. And that's not knocking him. That's just saying we got to all start to understand, like, you really got to look for the skin in the game of that person who you're watching.
It's great. And then I think that I the word just keeps coming to my mind, level. Right? Like, if you're a low level, you're going to go low level type products. Okay?
Yeah, we've all gotten our start somewhere.
We've all gotten our start somewhere. And those that climb out of levels elevate their game. Not everybody does, right? Like,
agreed.
That's just a generic statement. It's not right. Like, some people stay there and they stay in that level. They might even stay in that level for 5 years, 7 years.
Permanently.
You go into this group that you can supposedly, be detailing to get some, some moolah, right? Like,
yep.
Get some money. And that would be a group where you would think people at that point are probably leveled up. I mean, if you right, you would think, right? If it's a group for people that make money off of it, and it's a large group, you would go, okay, it's a group of people that have leveled their game up.
I'm sure some people have. I mean, just statistic wise, some people have.
This is a one from there. I think find it interesting. I want to make sure I'm prepared for when I ceramic coat mine and my buddy's car. Great.
Yeah.
Love this guy. Wants to make sure he's prepared to ceramic coat. I have spray wax.
Yeah. That's a big issue. I already know where you're headed.
And ceramic spray, but unsure if there's anything or any other kind of spray I should get.
Yeah. Look, I think this is what professionals, and look, we've kind of talked about this before. The constant use of the word ceramic in everything that's ever been created in our world is bound to make people confused about what a ceramic coating is. I mean, ceramic's being thrown on every car wash on the planet. Graphene, ceramic, but dude, once it hits the car wash world, all bets are off. But you and I have kind of said this, I think, in an episode pretty recently. you have to understand that people are confused. Can't be mad about it. Can't be judgmental about it. You just got to say, I understand why people are confused. And by the way, if you think this is just a now problem, you were around when spray waxes got introduced. That was like voodoo. Okay? You were
That shake up
around.
wax where they were this and that.
Oh,
Talk about voodoo.
yeah. I mean,
Well, that's voodoo.
And if you
How
had
in the
an
world
old,
did you shake it up and they go to one?
yeah,
What?
and you had customers who had nothing but hand wax cars that you were telling them, hey, we've advanced past that. They wouldn't believe you, probably still even today. Okay. So everyone who kind of says like, hey, people are confused about ceramic coatings. They were really confused about spray wax, probably even worse than this. I mean, trying to get guys to not have you hand wax their vehicle was a real argument. Then telling people we had these things called paint sealants. People were like, no, I mean, you got to wax my car all the time. It's like, no, man, we got these new cool things called paint sealants. Yeah, we do. We do apply them by hand or machine. And I mean, this is just the evolution of things. Talk to somebody that's never seen PPF on a car that's done well. I mean, it's confusion on to the nth degree. I mean, it just is. And again, I'm guessing if you read all the responses, you'd have some very judgmental people to that post. But I just don't put my head there because I go, guys, you have no idea how confused everybody is. I mean, and by the way, you and I have talked to professionals who have 100,000 followers on a platform that didn't know how to use a spray and rinse sealant. That's a fact. I mean, none of this shocks me, and it shouldn't shock anyone else. So you're going to give your 2 cents and help this person, or you just need to move on to the next post.
And the shock really wasn't the judgmental on there. The shock was actually in the amount of comments and suggestions. And you go, hey, everybody's confused. Goes back to the point of going to some group and thinking you're going to get right. So you keep questioning, right? Like what? Like even to the point of this one, and we'll move on to the next. Is this guy showing this photo, which we've all seen, like somebody's walked up to us, at the car wash, somebody at the mobile, somebody comes up to us at our detail shop, and they go, hey, man, let me come take a look at this. I just scraped into it. I just kind of bumped it, right? Like,
oh, yeah.
It's not that bad, right? I just see a little bit of, and they want to kind of explain it. But then we put our eye on it, we go, okay, right? Like, that's some paint transfer, right? Like, okay. Like that's some real work there.
Yeah,
even
Marty's showing a picture for everybody. Marty doesn't realize he's on a podcast that you're listening to most of, but you can go see it on YouTube. You can see. Exactly
there you go. I do realize, and that's why I did it. I was trying to like.
Now you're a marketing genius. Gotcha.
I am. Look at that. Boom.
Oh yeah.
You can even see where it's gone even past it.
Yeah. I can see the mark where I go. This is headed to the body shop if you want it fixed.
But wants to know how he can get it out by hand.
Oh yeah.
You know, right? Like there's the way I say levels, right? Like it's not a like I'm gonna throw judgment at the guy. I'm not making fun of him. I just want to continue to go based off of what you're saying. Education, people that think through things, the 80-20 rule that we talked about.
Yep.
How many people in high school barely got it? What is our, industry? All that to make us keep going. All right. If I've got a question, and there's got to be a lot of questions that continue to arise because, Nick, I think the one thing that as you talked about the guy that used to come around and sell you stuff, I'll go ahead and say, though, that we've talked about Revive and the transformation of chemicals for the vehicles. Vehicles have gotten so complicated and there's so much information online, whether it's brands or whether it's this, everything is gotten so complicated that it does beg to question, how do I even get the information? Everything is so complicated, whether or not I spray this amount, I've got this surface, whether I follow this guy, whether I do this, like, we've talked about the amount of clear coats, right? So
Yeah.
you could literally start, if you were one of those guys, you could literally start this chart of all these different this and all this. And
Yep.
then this guy says, and you just go, wow.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this, and I can only relay to people how I've changed as a consumer. I think you're probably in the same boat. It's all about understanding, and people are probably going to sick of me saying this. You have to understand the game. Like, it does not matter what product I'm going to buy in life. I'm not going to a review channel. It's not happening. I'm not going to watch somebody review it. Let me tell you why. This is not anything against people that do. I was getting ready to buy something for my kitchen. I'm specifically looking for certain things. Okay. What I'm not looking for is a guy on a review channel that I have no idea who paid him behind the scenes to give the review. Now, if that guy comes out and says, and this does happen from time to time, I'm sponsored by this company, so understand that going in, but which, by the way, still doesn't happen very often. So I'll tell people a car story. There was an internet personality, huge internet personality, who bashed a new electric car company on his channel, kind of out of the blue. I had two auto executives, not related to anything this car company was involved in, that said that guy was paid a ton of money to try to sink that company by a competitor. That's why the video was made, because it was like out of the blue. I'm like, this guy doesn't really make car content.
Apparently, we've got detailers that are out on episodes telling people that they would make bogus Google reviews against
100%.
competitors,
Right.
Like,
so the only thing I can share is what I've learned as a consumer, what we've learned as a brand, the things that I can share, because I don't really know any other way, right? I don't trust review channels when I'm going to buy something for me personally, because I understand how the internet is working, especially on a high level. There's all kinds of money exchanging hands that you're unaware of. Okay. Now, I don't really have a problem somebody taking sponsorship money. I mean, nobody has a problem. MJ took sponsorship money from Nike. I'm like, hey man, get paid. You're worth a ton of money. Like, yeah, whatever. I just think that there's such a gray area around this stuff where essentially people on the internet just flat out hide that they've been paid. And so I just go, since I've seen the game behind the scenes, I just don't trust it. Doesn't mean that I think that person's a bad person or I have any judgment that way. But the reason I don't go to review channels is because I don't understand what they're really getting out of it, because they're not disclosing to me what they're getting out of it. Right.
I think for me, I do. Yeah, that's absolutely true. And I think you'll let me pick. I guess, but some people say, well, you're piggybacking. I don't think of it as piggybacking. I think of it as like, yeah, I don't understand what they're getting out of it because they never tell me anything bad.
Ever.
Like, I never hear, okay, well, when I did this, like, it's just always about how amazing something is.
Yeah.
And it's always
Which throws the red flag out, right? The red flag is if you've
if there's no
reviewed
cautions, like,
100
hey,
products, right? And by the way, if they do out of the blue bash something, you have to wonder to yourself, well, did he get paid to bash this? Did he get paid to bash this thing? Because he doesn't really do this. And like I said, I'm kind of okay with all of it. And I think everybody listening should be okay with it, because it's not going to get out of the system. Like, this isn't me trying to talk about, let's fix something. Like, dude, I just fix it.
Yeah, there's no fixing. Listen, there's no fixing the pro detailer.
Well, no,
I'm
not.
YouTube
but here's the thing: I don't want to even talk about pro detail. I just don't want to talk about any of it.
The pro detailer that has a YouTube channel that gets products and then tests them on paying customers' cars, and then does a video to get the YouTube too. You just go,
yeah,
huh?
But it's across the internet. Like, we just need to understand this is the ecosystem, right?
Yeah.
And if you understand it, you just go, okay, well, I'm not going to be the sucker on the internet. That's all. Like, I do think a lot of people are mad about it, though. Let me explain. We have a lot of people that you'll get on a phone call. We're talking about massive distributors globally. We're talking about executives at times that you and I are on the phone with that are just going ballistic about this stuff. And they're always shocked at how I react, because I go, Bud, you already know how the game works. Why are you so worked up? The guy that should be mad is like the 25-year-old that blew $1,000 on products that were sold to him through a BS review channel. And they always take a step back and they're like, yeah, never thought about that. I go, yeah, man. So what do you look, man? I don't want anybody to be taken advantage of, but I'm not going to fix if you don't learn how the ecosystem. And that doesn't mean I'm some cynical guy. There's a lot of stuff I enjoy on the internet. There's a lot of stuff, people that I trust on the internet. But let me tell you something. The people that I trust personally, I don't care if it's around cars, around something else around my house, they're pretty clear with their intentions. They'll tell you, hey, I'm sponsored by Pennzoil. Cool, man. I know where you stand. I'm good. I'll still watch your stuff. I'll still promote your channel to people. Say, hey, you got a new car channel? Yeah, man, love this guy. That guy's doing a Pennzoil commercial that just popped off. I'm good with it. Like, I don't think that's a negative thing, but he's also not hiding it. So I tend to trust people that don't hide what they're guys. If you're confused about pints and polishing and clutch culture and our YouTube channel, I'd really be thrilled if you bought some hyperCLEAN products. That's the reason we do all this stuff. It's pretty out in the open. We want you to support hyperCLEAN. Those are the people that I gravitate towards because I go, at least I know where they stand. And I just think that is the only thing I can really relay to people from me as a consumer, way outside of detailing. I just don't do the review thing because I'm telling you guys, if you saw some of the payments that people were getting in life to do a negative review, a positive review, I think a lot of people would be like, oh, I didn't know that was happening. And it is definitely happening.
No, it is. Now, the positive things that do come out of the quote unquote referral is if I'm going to get really into my own self with when I've purchased something, like I've asked people
Sure.
for recommendations on stuff, right? Like, what if then I get this product and the guy told me that I should get this, and then it doesn't work quite the way that they said it worked for them. And I go, well, now I'll
People
tell
do.
you what.
Yeah, people
Let me
do.
go send an email to this company and tell them I did what they said.
Hey, whenever you hear like a family member tell you one of these stories at like a barbecue, do you kind of cringe? You're like, oh, that's what you did? I mean, it could be about something stupid too. Like, I bought this clip for this thing and, my buddy told me about it. And then I had to let that company know. Like, I've had those times at like a barbecue. And I'm like, Jesus, is this person crazy or what?
It's not even just a barbecue. We'll have it, loosely in a different context inside of the group or in emails we get, right?
Yeah, we
Like,
will from time to time.
where
Yeah,
they're
no,
like,
it's
hey, I can't believe this happening. Like,
yeah,
I've
no,
done this for so and so a long
I think
time.
here's the other thing. It's also about how much I don't put a lot of stock into if I just buy something inexpensive for my house, it either works or it doesn't for me. You know what I mean? Like, also, it depends on what type of customer you're. Like, I have family and friends that are like really, really hard on companies and products that I don't think they should say anything about. And there's other people like myself. It's like I don't really say anything about anything. I either like it or I don't like it. Right? I mean, you probably follow on my line. I either like it or I don't like it. And if I don't like it, I just move on to the next thing. And I don't do emails to companies. I don't do Google reviews. I don't do any of that. That's just not how I am. But there's a segment of the population that feels like they need to get their two cents in. And, we'll probably let the person that knows what they don't realize is they're not going to get another recommendation from their buddy Bill because Bill's like, I'm not trying to hear about the next thing I recommended because let me tell you, I think it's a you problem. And that's where I get most of the time in my life. Like, I've had people, I got friends and family. I'll never recommend anything to them because I've seen like the bad side sometimes. I'm like, I'm not, buy what you want, man. Hope it all works out for you.
All right, like we'll get an email. I think you've talked about something you've gotten. I think of this guy that my neighbor, and he would have if I didn't stop him. He goes on. Let's say he washes a car with this brand that we can say they didn't do anything. Like, what did they do? What did they do wrong? Did they do anything wrong?
Sure.
He would have grabbed the product. He would have put it in the bucket. He would have washed his car. He would have rinsed it off. And then he would have seen some stuff, and then he would have gone, hey, I did what you said. I put this in, and I've done this before. I did it last time, and it didn't happen. But this time it did. How come? And you just go, oh, I mean, I don't.
I mean, here's the thing. I think a lot of people that follow us and are definitely listening right now, most of us are just more easygoing customers for anything. Like we've all been to a restaurant and gotten bad service, and you didn't like lose a bunch of sleep over it. I'm just not that kind of guy. And I don't think we attract those types of people a lot of times, to be honest with you. I think you and I have to say something. I mean, where we are now, we got a good group of people buying from us. I mean, we got a great customer base that does seem to go to our YouTube page, does seem to go interact in the group at times, does seem to ask questions, whether they email us and ask just a question preemptively and say, hey, I'm about to do this thing. Is there anything I got wrong? Here's what I'm going to do. You point them to a video, they go, perfect. I'm going to follow that video exactly. You're always going to have
I'll
these
say we got a whole other segment that we don't ever talk about. And those are the people that they just buy and they never have an issue. So we don't ever talk about it, right? Like, they don't ever say random things in the group. They don't randomly do this. They're just people that just regular buy and just running their life.
One of the craziest things that I've learned in the last 5 years is there's a lot of really good people taking care of cars, whether it's their own or they're doing it massively as a business. And I don't think we ever give that enough run, to tell you the truth. There's a lot of people doing a lot of great work. And they just got their head down, whether it's taking care of their own cars. I mean, we got a lot of prosumers who just buy and buy and buy and are taking care of their family's cars, their buddies' cars, this and that. Like we can't say that enough. We probably don't say it enough. Let's say that out loud. But the coolest part about it is if you build this whole group of people that is like-minded and saying, I just want to take care of cars better, whether that's mine or as a professional, I think that's where the good things come. And it's not some big internet marketing thing that makes this all better. It's just more people getting together with like-minded individuals and doing better work. And I think that's what we kind of have started to build, right? I mean, we're very, very young as a company, but I get so much comment about trim cleaner. And I have people saying, man, I've been looking for this type of product because I've been putting trim coatings on and I knew there was a problem and I'm so glad this has been solved. It's like, yeah, guys, because we've actually done this. It's not because we're the smartest people you're ever going to meet. We've needed the problem solved. So we made a product that solved the problem that we've had, that we know all of you have had. And therefore you build a better community every time you kind of do stuff like that.
All right. But you're going to run into a thing that we know is going to happen. Let me walk through a YouTube video that you and I just talked about that you did around a trim piece that you could see somebody put a heat gun. So they learned that from somebody. And then now you're going through and educating them on how to properly go through and do that.
Yeah.
Right. The the idea that there's so much out there, but then there's these guys that go, F it. I watched this and I'm just gonna try it.
Sure.
We are currently looking for a new house. Recently we're in a house that we went upstairs and suddenly the ceiling got a little lower.
Yep.
Suddenly you could see some lines in the ceiling, right? And then as the realtor comes up, he immediately got it and goes, oh, little DIY project up here, huh?
Yep. Always warn you, if you're hunting for a house, anything looks DIY on a major level, you might want to either ask for a huge discount.
Interesting part, though, where somebody just goes, F it.
Oh, dude, the house thing, I've said it on this podcast before. I mean, the DIY project on houses, boy, you want to talk about going wrong. I mean, obviously you've just recently walked into a house that you go, what the hell is this person thinking? But again, we're all in the car world. There's a lot of that where you go,
exactly.
What the hell is this person thinking? But people are going to do it. And you can only do things to the level of the information that you consume. right? It doesn't matter what in life it is. And so I think to kind of wrap this up, what we want to tell people is, number one, for the people that are following us, so you understand how we view it, is we hope you can go to our YouTube channel or to our Facebook group to go to our short form content, and you can find information that helps you with whatever project you're working on. If you need help, if you need to understand how to use one of our products. And we're going to keep building that library. Whether you use that or not is not really our decision. That's what you're going to have to decide. Hey, do I want to learn more about the product? But that's what we're going to put out there, and hopefully it helps people understand how we see using our products to the best of their ability. And that's where you kind of have to leave all of this, because people are going to do what they're going to do. Just like you walked into a house. Somebody's probably asking 500 grand or more, and you're looking at a DIY project going, I just don't know that I'm doing that on a $650,000 house. I just don't know that I'm doing that. But you did. Now, either I can take a bunch of money off the house because I'm going to have this fixed by a professional, or I'm just going to have to go on to the next house. And you don't have a bunch of other options.
Nope. They already had another bid, so we were like, cool.
See you later. Yeah.
Right,
Good luck
but
to those people.
That's part of when you open up your car door and you buy a car. What's that initial smell? That is
that's
the
a lot
moment,
of APC.
right? There's reasons that some people do some things the right way. There's a reason I spent the weekend of knowing like the house is going to go on the market. I got to spend time out getting some things done, getting some things right. You can see things, you can start to know things. There's when you talk about people in our network, there's where I think the people in our network go, yeah, check, 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 right? They just start to know things. That's why they listen to us more of like infotainment, right? We're just kind of like, yeah, we agree with you, right? Like, yes, this is the way that it should be.
Like-minded individuals listening to like-minded individuals. That's sort of the
This
world.
is the way. Mandalorian, we'll close on that. Thank you, Nick, for quoting the Mandalorian.
We don't do any of that. So that is not supported by hyperCLEAN.
Okay, so if yesterday was May the 4th, today was definitely Cinco de Mayo. Margarita on the rocks. There you go. That's where I did.
All right.
Everybody else go celebrate. When you listen to this, it'll be Tuesday. You can do the, what's the celebration after Cinco de Mayo?
You can sleep one off.
Aspirin is the celebration.
All right, guys.
See you guys.